Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Jo, this is Joey Sewy, and we are here again in my new bedroom to film a video. So in my last video I gave you a little bit of a bedroom tour as far as we've got. This is the little window alcove, so there is a roof window above me and the rest of the bedroom is behind where you are, and the rest of the bedroom is a much darker green, and this is a really light sort of blush pink, not a baby pink at all, much more, I like to think, much more sophisticated pink, but I think it makes a really great backdrop. So you may see me here a little bit more often, as well as in my sewing room, obviously. What I wanted to talk about today was about sewing pressure. So it is also related to the room that we're in, because as I mentioned in the last video, my husband and I have been doing huge amounts of work. This is a very long-term project that we've been doing of converting a barn, but also we entirely renovated a house first, and we're doing it more or less on a shoestring, so everything that we can do ourselves we are doing ourselves, and that includes the plastering, the boarding, the plumbing where it's safe for us to do so. We can't do the electrics, but even that we've done what we can do, and it's taken a lot of time, and especially recently, if you do follow my channel, and if you do, I really appreciate you, but you might have noticed that my videos haven't been coming up quite as frequently. So the kind of the perfect or the imperfect storm of house plus I accidentally got a job in that I was doing some voluntary work to do with my psychotherapy, and I'd planned not to look for a job until at least January because of the house stuff, but I was offered some paid work where I've been volunteering, and I love the work, so I couldn't say no, but that has taken at least a day a week of my time away, and that was the day that I was sewing and the day that I was filming videos and all of that, so that's why I haven't been around as much. But I know that it's quite a common worry in the social media sewing community, our little corner of the universe, about not sewing enough, especially if you are a content creator like I am, and like I know a lot of people who watch you also put things on Instagram and put things on YouTube as well, so I think you may recognise this, that it's a trap that we can fall into, that we worry that we're not sewing enough, and suddenly this thing that's supposed to be a hobby and is supposed to be a passion becomes a pressure and a millstone around your neck and a commitment and all the things it's not supposed to be. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, about when is it okay not to sew. Now I could make this a really short video, because really the answer is it's okay not to sew all of the time. The end. But of course you're watching a video about sewing, or at least you thought it was, and it is about sewing, and so you probably want to sew, you're probably interested in sewing at the very least, and so you know you like to do the craft, you like to, whatever it is that you particularly like to do in this fabricy world, you like doing that. So what about when suddenly you don't feel like sewing, or you do feel like sewing and you can't fit it in, and there's all those things that get in the way, and I think it's really important to remember that there are many reasons that it's okay not to sew, and number one is because you don't want to. So if you don't want to sew, then don't sew, and don't worry about not wanting to sew, because creative energy really naturally goes up and it goes down, and you'll probably see that in, for example, in the quantity of what I sew, because it's not only influenced by outside commitments, but I'm a human too, strangely enough, and my wish and drive and enthusiasm to sew goes up and it goes down, and I've fallen into the trap of thinking I must be a terrible person when my creativity goes down and there's something wrong with me and all of that negative self-talk. But the truth is, that's actually a really natural process. So at the times when it isn't what you fancy, most of the time it's not a great idea to just push yourself to do it. Sometimes it is though. Sometimes it may be what you need to push yourself out of a rut, but you need to be sure you know which you're doing. Are you forcing yourself because of some kind of external think I should motivation, or are you pushing yourself because you know it will end up in a good place? Only you can know that. But reason number one is because you don't want to. Reason number two, and this isn't going to be an exhaustive list, I would love to hear your lists down below, because I'm sure I'll miss plenty of excellent reasons not to sew. But reason number two for me is because there's too much else to do. And that's definitely where I am at the moment. And I'm enjoying all the other things I have to do. I mean, the building stuff, it's hard work. I don't actually enjoy a lot of the process of that, but I do enjoy the getting it done and getting to the pretty bit. So, you know, life is full, and sometimes it's a choice between resting and, well, this is going on to reason three actually, but sometimes you just have a lot to do, and there aren't the hours in the day to do all the things that you would like to do. Goodness me, it's taken me a long time to learn that and I'm still not there, but I do know it a little bit nowadays. So sometimes there just isn't time, and that's okay. We all have lives around sewing. None of us, even those of us who run businesses, sewing isn't everything. We have relationships, we have other commitments, we have the place that we live, we have our health. It's got to fit in there, and sometimes there isn't space. Sometimes there's lots of space. So if you're in a period of your life like I am right now, where there isn't all the space that you wish there could be, then that's okay. Again, if you want or need a route out of that, then you need to assess what you're doing and decide whether I'm at the place right now where I'm happy with all the things that are taking my time, and I'm happy to just sit back and say, okay, there isn't going to be a lot of sewing at the moment, and that's fine. If you're in a place where you think there's all these things taking my time and I really want to make time for sewing, and then I guess you need to find a way to put some of your commitments down or find some space, or, you know, I don't know your situation, but you can either review things and accept it, that's just the way it is at the moment, it won't be like that forever, space will come, which is how I feel, or look at your commitments and think, actually there's two things there that I really wish I wasn't doing, or that aren't as important to me as my sewing practice, so I'm going to put those down for a bit or forever or whatever. So that is number two, because there isn't time. Now number three, I touched briefly on it, might be because you need a rest. That is also a good reason not to sew, and I guess it relates to both of the other reasons. So you might need a rest because creatively we need those fallow periods, we need those quiet periods so that the ideas bubble up again. A lot of stuff goes on in our creative unconscious when we're apparently doing nothing, and it will kind of ruminate. Even if you're not literally aware of doing those things, that is the human process. Of the quiet periods are not periods of emptiness, even when they feel like it. They're often periods of digestion and preparation, and then the creativity will pop back up again. But also you may literally need a rest, and if it's a choice between, again, this is where I am at the moment, the times when I could squeeze, force, push sewing into my life at the moment are the only times when I actually also have to rest. And at times I have pushed myself out of the rest and made myself do the sewing, and I can only sustain that so long before I fall over. And so caring for yourself and giving yourself the rest is absolutely of huge value. So if you just need a rest, and if the only time when you could sew is time when you would be resting and you really innately feel you need that rest, then take the rest. So that's the third reason. And my final reason, although as I've already said, there will be many other reasons, and please comment down below. My final reason is when you get distracted by something else that's more interesting. So maybe you are in a creative period, maybe you are wanting to do things, but maybe that's not sewing. And that's okay, because it's not adulterous to do another craft or to have another creative outlet, whether that's singing, origami, walking. I think walking actually is sometimes a creative outlet, painting, knitting, woodworking, rocket making, I don't know. But if your creative energy has been caught by something else, then don't feel obliged to force yourself back to sewing, because sometimes for some reason you've stuck a sewist label on yourself and you think you need to live up to that. You can be part of this community even if you don't sew anything, in my opinion, and nobody's actually got keys to the gate. So if you just feel like being creative in another direction, then do that. So I've been really creative recently. I've actually had a very intensely creative period, but none of it's been sewing. It's been painting of rooms and designing of rooms. I've also been redesigning the room at my workplace where I do counselling, and that has been so exciting, and I've loved doing it, and I've poured masses of creative energy into doing that, but none of it's sewing. I've done origami. I've done a little origami mobile for it. I've upcycled some pieces of furniture for it. I've shopped for a new chair, which sounds simple but took me ages, because it was really important to me that I made the right choice, because I'm going to be sitting in this chair for literally hours and hours on end without being able to move, so I wanted to be sure that it was comfortable. So I've actually had a huge creative period. I'm not even mentioning all the stuff that's still going on in my head about the bedroom, but it's not been sewing, so it hasn't really shown on this channel or shown in my sewing output. But I don't think that makes me a bad human being. I think I'm still okay. So as I have said a few times, I would love to hear your side of the conversation in the comments down below. And even if you don't want to comment, I recommend reading them, because the people who watch my videos are extremely wise. And there's always so much wisdom and goodwill and lovely stuff in the comments. So first of all, thank you in advance for that, because I know it will come. But also I really recommend that even if you don't want to comment, which is fine, you have a read, because they enhance the value of the video a lot. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back really soon. I am doing my best to do frequent videos. Everything I've said in this video notwithstanding. So whether there'll be lots of projects to share, don't know, but I will still be here because I love being here. Thank you. Bye.